All right, hello everybody.
Good afternoon.
Here
and
we
welcome
go.
back to week
I don't even know.
6, maybe?
6, yes. Week 6 of the Bible Together.
Yes, in the book of Exodus, chapters 14
Yeah.
through 24.
I'm stoked. I think we've got a really good discussion
I think so.
on tap for today, so you just go ahead and get ready. We want you to be involved in this, so drop comments,
Yes, please.
send us questions,
Yes.
all those things. We want to get your feedback. We want to hear some questions because we would love to do an entire session of answering questions, kind of
Yes.
like a Q&A thing.
That would
just to
be
throw
that would
out
be
there.
ideal.
All right, so it's Pastor Joe here and my partner in crime for the podcast, Miss Renee McAvoy.
Yep.
And we are going to dive right into Exodus. If you're following along with us, we're reading Exodus chapters
14 through 24.
24. All right, so 14 through 24 are the chapters we're reading, and so let's dive into some deep discussions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of, we could go over the things that I think most everybody who's read this chapter knows.
These chapters, yeah. I mean, when you
know what I mean?
when you start looking at all the things that are taking place, we're really seeing, in the previous chapters we saw the miraculous power of God
Yes.
through the plagues.
Yes.
But now we're seeing the miraculous power of God through Him parting the Red Sea.
Parting the Red Sea.
A lot of the miracles that we really go to a lot when we think about the real miraculous moves of God like that. Parting Red Sea, the manna.
Yes.
The fire by day, cloud by night. All we seen so many of these happening right
Yes.
through here.
Yes. Yes. But I don't know that. So the thing that stood out to me this week was Moses holding up his hands, and in intercessory prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And why?
Yeah.
The why of it is what got me, because I do talk to a lot of people who say, well, why? Why do you do that? What is the point of the hands in the air?
Yeah.
And with regards to this situation in particular, God was intervening, and it was closely tied to Moses' intensity of having his hands in the air and praying so hard for what he wanted, and for as long as it took, which his strength eventually, as you know, if you keep your hands in the air for very long, your arms just slowly start to drop. But as his intensity and ability and strength to hold his arms up waned, so did God's intercession into the problem, into his prayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not only do we need to, I think, maintain our intensity and our strength when interceding, but we also can't do it alone. And we need our fellow intercessors to assist. Moses needed his fellow intercessors to hold his arms up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like so important. It's like the community aspect of it.
Sure.
It's the congregational aspect of prayer.
Absolutely. And I think about when you're talking there, I think about our one thing here at Andrews Church of God. If you're part of the church, you will have seen it on all the handouts and everywhere. Anything that we do, it's our one thing, and it is experiencing the fullness of God's love and living the truth together. Yeah. So the together thing, the fact that we're seeing here in this moment, like you're saying, the fellow brothers.
Yes.
Caleb and
Aaron.
Coming alongside and lifting up Moses' arms in the heat and in the moment of that battle.
Right.
And holding him up and making sure that the three then of them together coming in as a support. God was still fighting the war.
Yes,
God
he
was
still
fighting the battle. And so we have to understand that God was still doing the work.
Right.
But Moses was keeping the posture of surrender to the Father.
Yep.
So that he could then do
yes.
the work. I look at it, this is my brain kind of going down that rabbit trail. I imagine it being a symbol of Moses' arms being held versus them coming down. Whenever your arms come down, it's almost as though it's like his hands going to work. Moses' arms going to take care of something and do something
of I'll do
of
it.
Activity
yes.
versus a posture of surrender.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like when the power of his prayer waned,
Yep.
so did the power of God's intercession wane. He was still interceding, but his power matched Moses' power.
Yep. Absolutely. And that it causes me to begin to think. And like you asked me before we started recording, you said, or you told me that people have asked you, rather, about why do you lift your hands in worship? The reality is we are a Pentecostal church. We believe in an expressive worship. We do. We are a very expressive people.
Yes.
And so people ask us all the time, or I've asked you, why do you raise your hands? Why do you do that? Well, it's a biblical reason.
There's an actual biblical reason.
There's an actual biblical reason.
It's not just because we're especially emotive.
No, not at all. Like, in fact, in Psalm 63, verse 4, I have the scriptures in front of me. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands. I'll praise you as long as I live, and in your name I'll lift up your hands. Psalm 134 and 2. Lift up your hands in the holy place and bless the Lord. It is a command. So the lifting your hands that we see here is a sign of, like I said, a sign of surrender.
It is.
Lifting our hands is a posture of praise, but it's also a posture of spiritual warfare.
It is. Obviously, based on this, because this was in the middle of a war.
Absolutely.
And the battle was going strongly their way as long as Moses' hands were in the air and he was in his full power of intercession.
Yeah.
And then they noticed that as his arms would begin to fall, that the battle would shift a bit toward the other side. And it wasn't until they had to help him.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's important, and I think what we see, just really digging down to the root of it, right? What we're seeing with this is us saying, Lord, I can't accomplish anything outside of being connected to you, and our hands being lifted. And it seems like such a foolish act, but our hands being raised in the air is that connection to the spiritual realm. That is us reaching up to the Father. In yes, it is an imagery thing, but the Bible is full of imagery, full of symbolism. But it's our hands lifted up into the heavens to connect with our Heavenly Father.
In a show of dependence. We 100%. Are depending on you, Lord. Our faith is in you.
Our hands will not be put to action because we cannot do anything to win this spiritual war that we're in. We're in a spiritual battle.
We are.
And the enemy's territory, the enemy's army is gaining territory. But whenever the children of God, when the child of God begins to worship, so we see that spiritual warfare with Moses' hands lifted. Think about our own life. When we begin to fully surrender, I know for me, when I finally began to fully surrender to the Lord, my life, how when God began to fight for me, and I began to win back territory
Mm-hmm.
in my life. The change that took place. Now I can back off of my relationship and my pursuit of the Father. And guess what?
Sometimes it just happens. I think that
Yeah.
that you get overwhelmed by whatever, whether it's
Life.
circumstances, life, whatever, and you do find yourself not in as intense a place with the Lord as you need to be.
That's right.
And you will lose ground.
Well, as soon as it's almost as if, and when you think back over it, as soon as you begin to back off of that relationship or back off of that true fervent worship to the Lord and that connection with Him, as soon as you back off, the Bible tells us that Satan is like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So he's there, crouching like off in the weeds.
Right. Never
waiting.
Never asleep.
No.
Never asleep, by the way.
And he's always waiting for us when we are going to back up, and he will begin to gain territory again in our life, and he does it through throwing up temptations. He does it through throwing up whatever he can.
Well,
even our past and our face.
misinformation.
Oh man,
talk about a thing. That's a thing. The
Mhm.
misinformation, the twisting of the word.
Yep.
I read a quote, and I think it was Charles Spurgeon who said, "Wisdom is in knowing the difference between what is right and what is almost right." And that's how you're deceived.
Yep.
Because it's almost right. So if you aren't comfortable in knowing your word, it is so easy to be deceived by what's almost right.
Well, if you remember, and to that fact right there, if you remember back in the very beginning, right, Genesis, whenever God has made Adam and Eve, He walked with them. We know He walked with them like in the cool of the day,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where He found, or that's where Adam and Eve heard Him, was in the cool of the day after they had sinned. So we know that they had heard His voice. We know that the Lord had given them instruction. When Satan came to Eve, he came to Eve first off to see how he could get her. He tried to refute
Right.
what God had said completely.
Mm-hmm.
And Eve said, "No, but the Lord has said that we cannot have, or we cannot eat of any, or we can eat of all the trees except for this one." And he's like, okay, Satan's like, all right, well then I couldn't get her with refuting that God
Right.
said it. So how else? So then Satan begins to twist the truth. Whenever Eve said, "If we eat of that tree, we will die," Satan's response, "But will you?
But will you? Just enough to cast that sliver of a doubt.
Surely you're not going to die."
Right.
Because, and this is a whole nother conversation.
This whole thing is another
my
conversation.
rabbit trail right
Yeah.
here. Because Satan cares about if he can control and cause us to live in the flesh, then he will have our eternal spirit.
Right.
So he appeased, or he went after Eve based off of, are you sure you're going to die? Talking about her flesh.
Right.
What God was referring to was the spirit man.
Was right. The eternal.
And so I don't know, it's a rabbit trail, I understand, but and if you're listening, go in with us on this. But this is truly a spiritual fight that requires us to be in constant surrender.
Yes, constant.
To the Spirit of the Lord, what He's wanting to do in our lives, and surrender to Him to fight our battles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And to maintain our intense, or as the Bible often refers to it, an intimate connection with God.
Yeah.
In order not to leave even a crack.
Right.
Where the enemy can slip in.
That's good.
Not even a crack. I know when I think of it, I always think, like, I'm a competitive person. And so I'm like, you know what? The devil gets nothing from me. I don't care how good it seems. If it can even almost be attributed to the enemy, no. The answer's no. Right off I don't even have to think about it. No, because you get nothing from me.
Yeah.
I want no. It's just a big all around no. For me.
No.
Just
you gotta go.
Right. I know you're not sleeping, but you might as well be moving on because no.
That's good. I would love it if more people were that way.
It's just, it's probably very simplistic. I don't spend a lot of time sort of like weeding through it because I'm just like, no, this smells a little bit of the enemy. So guess what? No.
Hey, and you know what Scripture tells us? Flee from the very appearance.
The very appearance. Exactly.
If it looks like it's going to be evil, get up out of that.
Yep. I can always
roll.
If the Lord convicts me of something, or if the Lord says go ahead, that's a different story. But I'm going to wait to hear from Him before I go.
I'll tell you, I used to tell the youth group all the time, and I think I even actually said this past Wednesday night to my young adult class that I was teaching. When in doubt, leave it out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
If it looks like it could lead you in a bad direction or it could be bad, leave it out. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And the Lord will lead you in the direction He wants you to go. And if it includes that thing, then okay.
Yeah.
That,
yeah.
You know,
I've also found that the Lord will honor your sacrifice too.
Yes. Yes.
Anything that we give up for Him, He's going to honor it.
He is.
He's absolutely going to honor it.
Absolutely.
So my takeaway from this week's reading, one of the areas that I thrive in, that I love, that I study, read all the time, and everything is all about leadership. Right? Dove into a lot of leadership stuff. I've taken shout out to Dr. Fred Garman, who was the guy that really got me into studying a lot of leadership. I took his leadership course, Leader Labs, in Cleveland, Tennessee, and loved it. It was an amazing time in my life, and really a pivotal moment whenever I began to dive into leadership and the principles that come with it and the habits that need to be established in a leader's life. And I know that all of us, to some degree, as believers, have been called to be leaders because the Great Commission tells us to go make disciples.
Right.
Well, in order to make disciples, that means you have to have people following you.
Right.
So you have become a disciple, and so disciples are following you and the example that you're laying before them. So to some degree, every one of us has been called to be leaders. And so there should be habits and things that should be in our life because of that. And so as I'm reading along, it just jumped out to me. I believe it's in chapter 18.
18 and like 21.
Yeah, where it really begins there in 18, where Jethro, which is Moses' father-in-law, if you're just reading along with us, Moses' father-in-law shows up. And so they've already seen. Now, I want you to get into your mind, wrap around the fact in your mind that they've already seen the waters part.
Right.
They've already seen the miracles of God, and the people are beginning to really follow Moses and connect. And there's been some grumblings and some things that have happened already. And now Moses has established himself as being the leader of this group, right? He's the leader. But the issue that we're finding here in this passage and in these chapters is that Moses has established himself as the leader, but he's the leader all alone.
All alone. Just like he couldn't hold his hands up.
Exactly.
Alone. He can't lead alone.
He can't lead alone. And that is one of the hardest principles to learn.
It's very hard to be able to choose the right people, which, by the way, there's biblical precedents for choosing a leader.
Absolutely. Well, in Jethro, that was actually one of his pieces of advice, was to choose those among you.
Yeah.
basically who you can trust. You pick who you know you can trust to help you lead the people. Because what was taking place is that the people were bringing Moses all of their problems and all their complaints.
Right, and he couldn't
he's
even
carrying
resolve
the
it in a
load.
day.
Oh, yeah, at all.
Yeah, it says it right in here that he says that they come and stand before him from morning until evening,
Mm-hmm.
and then they come again the next
day. And I'll tell you, from a leadership principle, and you know this, or from a standpoint as a leader, as pastoring the church, when people come to us with problems, every problem that someone brings you, and whether you are pastoring, whether you're just someone's best friend, it's inevitable whenever someone is bringing problems to you. If you truly have a compassionate heart towards that person, when you walk away from that conversation, many, 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 many times, you walk away carrying those same problems on your shoulders.
Yes, you do.
And so imagine for a moment that Moses is a leader all by himself, setting himself up, and people are bringing all of their problems, all their situations, all of their conflicts with one another, even. We're going before him. And he's having to try and solve them. Well, he walks away with all that weight, all that pressure.
They literally suck the very life out of him.
Absolutely.
All day, every day.
And
now,
I'll tell you.
How can you effectively lead? So you can still lead, but you don't progress.
Well, I'll tell you.
That situation.
This is a fact. Anybody that's listening right now, and share this with people that you know that are in type of leadership, any kind of leadership. What's the reality is that you will be able to lead, and you'll be able to lead for what looks like well for a short amount of time.
Yep.
But eventually, you are going to find yourself in a place where you are broken down, you're wasted. I'm just going to be totally real. My church already knows this. I reached a place at about the beginning of this year where I had seemingly burned out. Now, I've been that guy. Even though I've studied leadership, I've studied counseling, crisis counseling, and all these different things. I've always been that guy that has said there's no such thing as burnout.
Mm-hmm. I've also said that on many occasions, and kind of still believe it.
Well, I did too, up until this year. Up until this year, when I found myself in that place where I knew if I didn't change something, that I was going to crash and burn. And it was not going to be good. God didn't have me change my address, my ministry. I didn't pack up from Andrews and leave. I had to change my mindset.
Right.
I had to change the fact that not everything had to, one, go by me, and two, go my way.
Which is much harder. It's
my
much
goodness.
harder to let go of things not going your way than letting things go through you. You know what I mean?
That's the truth.
I can hand things off, but even if I hand it off, I do still find myself sort of like a bit of a lurker over the person's shoulder to make sure that it's really going my way. Yeah. And then I have to be like, no.
I truly don't.
You have to walk away.
I had become a helicopter pastor.
Yes. I didn't notice that, but I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying yes because I'm like, yes, you were such a helicopter pastor. No, I'm saying yes, I understand your point.
It's the reality. And I think we can do that in parenting. You know, we joke around about being a helicopter parent. Mm-hmm. We do. Listen.
You can be a helicopter spouse.
You can be a helicopter spouse. Any type of leadership position, it is a trick and a temptation of the enemy to get you isolated as the leader.
And to get your pride going real good, thinking your
pride
way
going
is the only way.
All the stuff, all the things, get into your mind, and then see you end up as the leader being the one to plummet first.
Right.
But Jethro comes along with all of his wisdom, and says to Moses, you cannot do this by yourself.
Right.
You've got to learn to trust people. And I'm going to tell you, whoever's listening, that's a tough principle to learn, but it is a necessary thing to learn.
It is.
You've got to learn to trust those whom you are leading. You're still the leader.
You're still the
You're
leader.
still the one bringing the vision.
Right.
You're still the one that is talking to God. But set yourself up to where those are the things that you're focused on and not all of the other tasks and responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then, prayerfully, you will have people that come along beside you who are willing to lift your hands up as the leader
Right.
whenever you're in battle. And can I tell you that if you're not, evaluate those people? Because Jethro told Moses, go choose those people that are going to be judges, that are going to be people who are going to help you lead the people, right? That's your God has anointed you as the leader to go out and choose these people and to see it and to recognize it in them. And then if they are not ones that are going to hold your hands up in battle and be there with you and say, pastor or leader or whoever, I'm with you, let's do this thing together, then maybe you need to find different people.
Different people. Yeah.
And that's okay.
And you need teachable people.
You need teachable people at all times.
At all times, yes.
And so this leadership principle of you can't do it alone. John Maxwell calls it the law of the lid. You can't, that the organization, whatever, cannot go any higher than the leader. Yep. Well, the leader puts the lid on that organization. But what happens when that leader empowers that organization and they're able to then rise up even more? Can I tell you that whatever it is that you're leading would be unstoppable?
Unstoppable. As a leader, you can't remain stagnant in one position, in one place.
Right.
And that's what happens if you don't raise up
others. Because you're finding yourself so busy with all these other things that
you're
not growing.
Move forward? You're not growing. You're not changing. You're not able to lead your organization higher and better.
Yep.
And you have to have those people who can help you lead
others
better.
Yep.
Lead better.
Yep. We have to lead better.
We do.
Well, Renee, I've enjoyed this discussion with you today.
This has been a great discussion.
All right. If you have any questions at all, we want to hear from you.
We do.
And we want to have a listener of the week for next week. So make sure you comment. You can email us at pastorjoe@weareacog.com. Give us a shout out on all your social media platforms.
Yes, please do.
You can copy and share this link for the video and this podcast. We love you. We're praying for you.
Yes, we are.
And you have a blessed rest of your week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.